I'm on mobile, sorry for errors. This is a story from my terrible 5th grade teacher. I was still in primary school. Cast, teacher, me, principal. One day in class I was doing my work when a classmate asked me for help, so I started helping him. Little did I know helping other students was against school policy, in my teacher's words, and she told me to be silent the rest of the day. Malicious compliance activated. The rest of class I was absolutely silent. Teacher, can you answer this question? Me. Teacher, please answer the question. Me. Teacher, you don't want me calling your parents, do you? Me. Teacher, okay, now you have to go to the principal's office. I went to the principal's office and only then broke the no talking rule. Principal, why weren't you talking in class today? Me, the teacher told me not to. Principal, never do something like that again. I was given a warning and my teacher was mad at me all year. I have other stories from this teacher and I can post them if you want. Sorry for the bad storytelling. English isn't my first language. Embarrassed smiley face. Height of pandemic. I needed to get some groceries for myself and dog. I live in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood and shop at the local market. I'm looking for a shopping basket and finally find one. Pick it up and am about to begin shopping when this middle-aged white dude comes up to me and says, "Oh yes, I need that." I'm Hispanic and Asian, so you can guess from there that he assumed I worked there. He proceeds to walk towards me, hands open, expecting me to give it to him. I give him the WTF look and he quickly responds, "Oh, are you using that?" I walk away still with the WTF face and see him turning as red as my basket. So as we Hawaii phase back into reopening restaurants, we have adopted a guest wellness check prior to sitting for your meal. Very polite and respectful. Enter Karen. Friday night 7 p.m., party of 4. No reservation. All good, I tell them no problem, hang outside. We had a cancellation and a table opened up. Bring them in, start the wellness check. Me. Hi, anyone experiencing chills, body aches, etc.? Karen. No, but we all just traveled to China. Me. Ma'am, I know that isn't funny. We are just trying to keep our staff and most importantly our guests safe and healthy. Karen's friend. We are going to the bathroom, we will be back. Me, okay, no problem. They go away, come back. Karen is gone, just friend and her friend, so sorry, we told her to go the flip home. Me, I'm a comp the shoot out of this meal. Oh okay, right this way, she was the real MVP. Comped some apps and they left a 50% tip for our team. Unicorns. We went shopping last week and since we were wearing masks, I think my hubby was a little bewildered when this happened. So we start our shop and I have the trolley since I want to get in and get out. I lost hubby for a while and after a few minutes I hear a commotion in the aisle behind me and being nosy, I went to look. There is my husband having words with a strange lady about something in the trolley. I walk over trying to find out what is the matter. Keep in mind we are all wearing masks. I hear my husband telling this total stranger, "Will you please stop buying X brand food because you know I only eat Y brand." Lady, but I like this and you eat it all the time. So I walk over to my husband and ask him why is he bothering this lady. I think then both of them realized they were fighting with the wrong spouse. Her hubby eventually found her and was so happy she bought Y brand for him. My husband now makes me wear a mask that has my name on it, gifted by my aunt, when we go any place together, playful face. Alright, first time poster, but long time lurker. But this is a story I just feel like I have to share as it happened last night. So I've been laid off for about the past 2 months and our casino/hotel just opened up on Wednesday evening. It has been a nightmare. I'm the swing shift front desk supervisor and I've been working 10+ hours every day since the opening. We have had constant non-stop lines, non-stop complaints, and non-stop phone calls. Everyone is itching to get out of the house and as we're in a river town, we're a hot spot for a lot of people, not just for gambling but for staying near the water. We're also severely understaffed as they were not anticipating such a large turnout. It's been mainly me and one clerk for the majority of the evenings with 100+ check-ins. I am exhausted. Yesterday, I received a call with a lady very upset with her stay last night. I told her I understood and I took down her information and I explained I will be sending her a complimentary stay in the future. Due to her awful reception and constant rambling, this phone call took around 12 minutes. Meanwhile, I have an older gentleman in a N95 mask pacing in front of me, who I can only assume is just disgusted by his room or something of the similar sorts, and I have a clerk needing my help with another troubled guest. Finally, I get off the phone with the upset guest and ask the gentleman how I can help him. He said he just checked in but he's having a serious medical issue. Due to our town being a retirement town, this is not a rare occurrence that someone might need medical assistance. I'll just type out how the dialogue went. Me: "Oh no, how can I help you?" Him: "Well, I am extremely embarrassed but I really need you to call somebody. I am having severe blistering hemorrhoids. This is a frequent issue but I really need help." Me: "Okay, do you need me to call an ambulance?" Him: No. I need someone to come up to my room and check out it." Meanwhile, my clerk by my side is coughing, trying to get my attention as this is not a normal situation. Me: "Okay, sir. If you'd like to run up to your room now, I can send security up there immediately to help you. What's your room number?" Him: "I can't remember, but the room is under my wife's name." Me: "Okay, sir. What's your wife's name?" Him: "Insert my full name." Then the gentleman removes his mask and it's my great uncle I haven't seen in 5+ years. To say I was relieved is a severe understatement. My grandma pops around the corner and is dying of laughter. I started laughing like crazy too and I explained to my coworker that it was a family member pulling a prank on me. Oh my gosh! My stress levels have been so high, I honestly would have believed anything. Afterwards, my uncle said he was impressed by my customer service skills as I was ready to call an ambulance and help this man who was describing his awful hemorrhoids to me. So I'm in high school. Me and my friends wanted to go to Goodwill before quarantine. We go to try and find stuff that we could sell online to make a bunch of money. I had my school ID while we were there. I'm looking at fancy plates when someone taps me on the shoulder. I look at him and he asked me, "Stranger, hey, you work here right? I was wondering if those were the only backpacks in sale. By any chance do you have any in the back?" I don't know what happened but my mind went blank. Me: "Sorry, I don't live here." I start tripping on my words trying to say work and live. The man chucked and says he hoped I don't. We laugh and go our different ways. My friends get a good laugh every time I bring it up. Lamau. I currently don't have my own bike because my last one was stolen and when this story took place, I didn't have a car either. Side note, can't understand why they took my old bike. The chain had jumped off the wheel and the back wheel was flat. I decided the next day to get the tools to repair the bike and forgot to lock it. The next day it was gone and I was not that mad it was gone, because those idiots couldn't ride it anyway because the chain will keep jumping off the wheel if you don't fit the back wheel properly. Good luck riding that disaster of a bike thief. Anyway, my old bike was stolen and I was allowed to borrow my older sister's bike since she didn't have time to ride it because of my niece, who was around 2 weeks old at the time. I still have the bike and I will give it back to her if she asked for it. Last summer 2019 I noticed that one of the pedals was moving around in a way you just know it is not supposed to do. I tried to see I could repair the pedals myself with my own hands but that was impossible, so I knew I have to get those tools I never got because of the stolen bike, and fix the pedals before I end up causing a stupid accident. Besides my workplace, there is this shop there sell all kinds of things to cars and a few certain things to bikes. I walked inside to find a toolbox for my bike and I did find 3 different types but I was not sure which of them I should buy because I was not sure if they fitted to my bike. An employee saw me looking around and asked me if he could help me with something. I told him about my problem and what I wanted to buy. For some reason, he looked at me thoughtfully and then asked me if I had the bike nearby. I told him yes, the bike is just outside since I used it to get to work. He walked outside the shop to look at my bike's pedals and that thoughtful look appeared again. Then he told me to take the bike to the other side of the shop where I knew they help people to fit car tires and then he invited me inside a small workshop with a bunch of tire laying around. The employee then began to look at different tools and try to see if he could fit them on my bike's pedals. Third time was the charm, and he repaired my bike pedals. For free. I thanked him 108 times for his help and the bike's pedals worked perfectly since that day. Even if I don't use my bike to work anymore since I got a car, I still go inside this shop for nearly everything I need for my car and bike because I know these people here, they treat you well. I'm not sure if this story goes here, but I will write it out anyway. Not my story, but my aunt's. Years ago when she was like in her mid-20s she was dating this guy Sam, not real name. One thing about Sam is that he lives in a horrifically dirty apartment, horrible smell, garbage everywhere, sticky carpet, old dishes all over the room etc. But no matter how many times she tried to clean he took it for granted and messed it up again. Also my aunt was beginning to get sick of his non-caring nature and him doing nothing in return which they often fought about. This one particular day my aunt cleaned the house to a for it to be tolerable for her, and she finished washing some dishes leaving the dirty dishwater in the sink. She then asked Sam if he can make her one of those frozen pan pizza. Sam did it while making snide comments about how considerate he is, and then after 25 to 30 minutes he gave her the pizza. After her saw my aunt eat every bite of the pizza, he reveals to her that he dropped the pizza in the dirty dishwater and baked it because he didn't want to cook another one. My aunt was so mad she didn't clean for months and ignored her. By that point she was ready to break up with him but first get even. Sam pleaded with her to come back, so she did. She talks about how she missed him so much. When Sam mentioned he was thirsty, she volunteered to get his drink. Now remember when I said Sam was so filthy he had dishes all over his room and sticky floor etc. Well, my aunt went right to his room, grabbed a big dark red plastic cup from under his bed and went right into the kitchen to pour him a cup of apple juice. She waited until he drank all of the juice and asked him if he liked it. He said yes. And that's where she dropped the bombshell. "I used the cup from underneath your bed to give you that," she said. He looked in the cup. He looked like he was about to throw up, and then he looked at her furious, and all she could do was laugh. She then got her things, dumped him and left. This actually happened to me as a teenager. It was usually my job to mow the lawn, so one summer day I'm out there in the backyard cursing under my breath as I drag the lawnmower to and fro trying to get the job done. Now I happen to look up at my neighbor's garage at one point and see a man's face peering at me through one of the small windows. I get back to what I'm doing and try to ignore it, but I look up again as I come back and the man is still there. Now I was wearing shorts and a tank top because summer and it's hot out, but I didn't really like it and felt self-conscious. Plus I also had very bad social anxiety at that age, so I'm wondering if this guy is peeping at me as he just keeps staring. I do an awkward wave at the man and yell a deadpan hello to let him know I see him. He does nothing and just has a frozen smile on his face. I eventually feel creeped out enough to go back inside and tell my mom a man next door won't stop staring at me. My mom grabs her phone, she's a Persian lady with a real temper, and tells me to stay inside as she heads out the door to the yard. I'm in the kitchen nervously pacing around, wondering if my mom is about to fight a guy or call the cops, when I hear the terrace door slide open and my mom wheezing. I run over to see what's wrong and see my mom is actually doubled over laughing. Turns out it was a life-size Paul McCartney cutout stashed in their garage. It was embarrassing, and every time I went out to mow the yard after that my mom would tell me to watch out for the Beatles. Haha. TL, doctor didn't recognize a cardboard Paul McCartney and thought he was a creeper. First of all, I'm on mobile, so sorry I'm advance for any errors. Second, the cast op me K, Karen F. Karen's friend M manager. So this took place before the lockdown. One day my mom sent me to the store to get her some ingredients for dinner. I'm 15, but if I put on my hat I look 16. Once I started looking around I accidentally dropped something, so I put it back on the shelf. The lady behind me let out a horrific screech. Keep in mind I know the actual manager, he's my dad's close friend since high school. KWH is he on ions? Op, I don't know miss, but I can help you look real quick. K, that's not good enough, tell me where they are or I'll get you fired. At this point I had no idea what she was talking about and I thought she might be confused. Op, I think you'd have a hard time firing me considering that I don't work here, ma'am. K, don't talk back, it's disrespectful. Op, ma'am, I was going to help you but you're being extremely rude. K, I know the manager, I can get you fired right now. Op, well ma'am, go ahead and call him because I don't work here. K, calls manager, Karen's friend. F, yes Karen? K, your employee is refusing to help me. F, can you put him on? F, you're fired, get out of the store now. Op, calls actual manager. M, op, is there a problem? Op, these women are trying to kick me out from the store and are pretending to be the manager. M, tell them that they are banned from the store and that I will have the police called if they ever come back. I proceeded to tell them this and they scoffed. A week later my mom and I went grocery shopping and the manager told us that the lady was arrested for trespassing and possession of illegal drugs. Thanks for reading and have a nice day. Backstory: my dad owns a facility management service and it was actually my idea, but I'm only 11 so I'm not allowed, so technically I'm the co-owner. Sometimes after school my dad takes me with him, and a few days ago, exact day the story happened. Now on to the story. My dad hired a new guy and when I come with my dad I chill and play outside or play on my phone. No, new one, didn't know I'm the son of the owner, so when I came in he said, "What are you doing here?" I responded, "I'm checking if the walls are painted correctly." "You're not allowed in here," he said. I replied, "Yes I am, I'm the son of the owner." So he said, "Lies, I will call the owner." So he calls the boss and he comes downstairs. My dad said, "What's happening?" And the worker said, "He's claiming to be your son, kick him out." "That's true and I won't kick him out," Dad replied. No was sweating and he apologized and my day went on. Additional info: my dad picks me up after school and bring me with him to work. I mostly just sit outside and play on my phone. I used to work in a vintage clothing retail store. One shift I was working night, finishing at 9 p.m. It was around 8:30 p.m. so we were starting to clean up the store and get ready to close when a lady walked in and started looking around. I went up to her and did the usual welcome spiel and explained the sales we had running and whatnot. Anyway, she was a bit strange and didn't seem to entirely comprehend what I was talking about. So I left her to browse and kept cleaning. She then brought a red backpack up to me that she said she really liked, explained how much she likes red and that she thought the bag was perfect for her. I said that's great. And she brought it to the register and bought it. She left the store happy with her new purchase, but returned about 15 minutes later right before we closed with the bag again. She suddenly exclaimed that she doesn't like red and doesn't want the bag anymore and wanted a refund. My store doesn't offer refunds or returns unless an item is faulty, and it wasn't. But we can do exchanges for an item of equal value. So I explained this to her and said that this policy is outlined on the wall behind the register as well as on our printed receipt. She didn't seem to process what I was saying, even though I was offering her to swap the bag for something she liked more. She wasn't angry or anything, just persistently asked for a refund which I couldn't provide. She ended up refusing the exchange, and just said, "I don't want the bag, you can keep it." She gave it back to me and didn't choose another item to swap it with, she just left. So we put the bag in our staff room after insisting she held onto the receipt in case she changed her mind and wanted to come back for it. I don't think she ever came back to get her bag or another item. Very odd. This took place last year at the NHL entry draft. My friend and his girlfriend, Kavina, had just returned a trip to Virginia Beach. We live near Philadelphia. Something on the screen indicates the draft is in Vancouver. K. Kavina. B. Boyfriend. M. Me. K. Oh look B. The draft is in Vancouver, we should have gone there instead of Virginia Beach. M. K. Do you know how far Vancouver is? K. Yay, it's in Canada. M. It's on the other side of the country. Now this could have been the time to just admit she was wrong, but she doubles down. K. M. I don't think you understand, I just drove all the way to Virginia Beach. M. I don't really think you know how far Vancouver is. K. M. I drove all the way to Virginia Beach and back without stopping, I like to do long drives. For those wondering, Vancouver is nearly 3,000 miles from where we live. Virginia Beach is 250. So it was 12x farther. So after a pretty tough working week, I'm in tech sales so I can continue to work from home. I jumped online with a few of my friends. Joined a voice chat and they asked if I wanted to play Civ 6. I'm fairly new to the game and really enjoying it and I'm a pretty excitable person. It was a super hot day in the UK and I had pretty much every window in my flat wide open all day. Fast forward to about 1 AM and Saladin NPC was looking for a religion victory. He was converting my cities and I was calling on my friends to join war with me to stop him winning. I was completely unaware of how loud I was being when I screamed, "Guys, come on, we need to get these Muslims out there everywhere, I hate it," and things of that like, all completely related to the game. As the windows were open I realized as I pulled my headset off that multiple people in my street/building were telling me to STFU and things of that like. They then ended up banging on my front door shouting similar things. I'm at now considering moving. DL, drive. I played Civ late at night with windows open and started yelling about my in-game problems regarding Islam, and to outsiders this would seem very racist. I had a grandmother Karen yell at me because I wouldn't let her make a reservation as our state is currently only allowing essential workers on essential business. I asked if she was essential and she said yes, to which I asked if she could provide documentation proving so. She said she was visiting her grandson in the area and that it was essential she see him as she hasn't seen him in a while. When I told her that we couldn't provide lodging, she shouting over the phone at me and saying how we were empty and should be jumping at her business. I apologized and explained the regulations again and suggested trying again Monday as that's when we can start opening up. She yelled at me some more saying she is high-value member and was so appalled at my customer service and that she would take her vital business elsewhere, right, and then hung up. I've gotten calls similar to this all throughout the quarantine, but this one just stings. I'm on mobile, so sorry if the formatting sucks. This was over a decade ago, in high school. We're all very familiar with some of the ridiculous dress codes that schools have, and the poorly thought out justifications for these rules. Most of the students and teachers agreed that these rules went a little over the top, and had a general agreement on what was fine and what wasn't. Not the vice principal. She seemed to be on a warpath with the dress code. This story is about the day that I ended up in her line of fire. I had a favorite pair of jeans that I wore constantly. I ended up ripping a small hole in the knee. It was maybe an inch in diameter, so I was honestly shocked she even noticed it. But oh boy, did she notice it. She went on a tirade about how inappropriate it was for me to be showing my skin, mind you that students were allowed to wear shorts that went just above the knee, and demanding that I change. I told her that I didn't bring a change of clothes with me, to which she responded that I would be suspended if I didn't change. So I told her that I would go to the main office to call my mom and ask her to bring me a new pair of pants. We lived right around the corner, so it would only take 10 minutes tops. She seemed unprepared for me to have a resolution other than suspension, and finally decided that I had to wait for my mom in ISS, in school suspension. I had never been suspended, in school or otherwise, so I was pretty angry that this was what sent me in. My mom brought me new pants, and I went to my next class, which happened to be art. Here, I formulated an idea. I grabbed some masking tape, wrote vulgar twice in the largest font I could fit on it, and put each one on each knee of my jeans. I made sure to show off my new accessories to the assistant principal, claiming that I had found a way to ensure that no more holes ripped and my knees wouldn't show. I thought her head might pop off, but I hadn't broken the rules, so there was nothing she could do. She never bothered me about the dress code again. So I used to work at this brunch restaurant that was always super busy on the weekends. I had a lady order sandwich that had a sunny side up egg on it and pork belly. She wanted her egg over medium instead. I came to check right after the food was delivered and she complained because they made it sunny side up. She also complained that her pork belly was too fatty because she's had pork belly before and it wasn't this fatty. Keep in mind, that's what pork belly is. It's uncured, fatty bacon. I brought the food to the kitchen, they said they fixed it and then I brought it back only for her to complain that all they did was flip over the egg and cook it. So, I brought the food back and spent the next 5 minutes trying to get this fixed. The lady started complaining about me being a terrible server, and the sweet old black lady I worked with who loved me wasn't having any of it and went off on this lady. She was telling her that she saw me doing everything I could to make her order right and I was one of the best servers they had. Then she proceeded to explain what pork belly was. She ended up saving my tip because they left me a good one. Moral of the story, all it takes is for a sweet old black lady to lose her temper to make things right again. This is a bit short, but I've just thought about a somewhat wholesome interaction with a woman at Walmart. It was Thanksgiving and I was on my way to my friend's giving party. I have this adorable vest that I wear during the holidays because it's denim and has cute little leaves that decorate the edge by the zipper, so of course I was wearing it for the party. I was browsing the alcohol aisle, heavily debating with myself if I should really be so corny as to bring pumpkin pie flavored vodka, or just stick with something basic but good, like whipped cream vodka. A woman approached me, and asked me where some alcohol I forgot was, and me not thinking much of it, being a southerner, I politely pointed out what she was looking for. She thanked me and I went back to my dessert vodka dilemma. She approached me again and asked me another few questions about alcohol and something about which was better for certain drinks and I'm just looking at her thinking that I definitely don't know how to answer these questions, or why she's bothering to ask me. Before I even collect myself enough to answer back, she looks down on my vest and says, "Oh, you don't work here." We both laughed it off and she goes to find someone else. We ended up in line beside each other, as it was a small store and you can only purchase alcohol at a certain register. She apologizes to me for the mistake and being my awkward self I just laughed again and said, "Oh, don't worry about it." Not much of a story, but I like to think about this sometimes when I see these other stories and am thankful she was not a Karen. So, this one is not so mean/cruel, but rather funny. Basically, there's a kid who likes to visit my dad. Jack, not his real name, is quite young, maybe 5/6, and tends to visit in hopes my dad will play with him. Well, on this occasion, Jack just opened the door to our home, and as such, my dad scolded him gently, telling Jack that walking in on people wasn't good, and he should knock as to not scare people. So, Jack listens. The fun way. So, Jack just closes the door, and almost immediately after begins to knock on it, being the dork he is. My dad answers, and tells Jack he can't play, and ends up closing the door. Cue knocking part 2. Another answer, where Jack asks to play again, but my dad tells him no once again, hoping that'll be the end of it. Nope. My dad tries to ignore the next round of knocking, telling Jack to stop it, which he does for about 3 seconds before continuing. After about 30 seconds of knocking, my dad tells Jack he's going to tell his mom what Jack's been doing, which the snarky kid says no you won't, calling my dad out. This back and forth goes on for a minute longer, before Jack finally goes on his way. No parents were alerted. TLDR, kid barges in, asks my dad to play, gets told he needs to knock first. Kid goes out, knocks on door repeatedly, him and my dad playfully argued before the kid leaves. I know it's not some grand story, but I thought you would all like to hear. I work at a small-town coffee shop that has managed to adapt and stay busy during COVID-19 by utilizing a window for walk-up service. A regular problematic customer, let's call him TJ, is a typical middle-aged man riddled with toxic masculinity. He often makes female employees and customers uncomfortable with his comments. Lately he's been around a lot, being typical TJ. Today he came to our window and ordered a coffee. Cool, nothing out of the ordinary. A co-worker asked him if he would like to tip via our Square register. We normally don't verbally ask customers, but with the current pandemic we are not allowing customers to touch our iPad system. He proceeded to tell her to put 100, and reassured them he wanted to tip that much because he appreciates our hard work and effort and wants to chip in since our business has been a bit slower. Okay, I gave him that and almost have a change of heart about DJ. We both outwardly thank him and he goes on his way. I text my boss about this uncharacteristic interaction with TJ and through their end of the register system she was able to look at the transaction. They noticed that not only was the credit card he used not in his name, but in his boss's name, on their company card. Typical TJ. What a D-bag. Obligatory mobile formatting blah blah blah. Our patio opened for service the other day, and we've had a mix of wonderful people who are so excited to be out, and incredibly entitled, rude people. I work at a Japanese and Thai restaurant, so a majority of our menu is sushi and other fish-related dishes. I was serving a lady and her mother, and she ordered our toro wraps, which are no longer on our menu, but we will still serve them if a customer asks. Unfortunately, we are out of toro, so I tell the woman that, but I offer to double-check just in case. I go ask and then return to tell her that we are definitely out. She says, toro is just spicy tuna. How could you be out of that? They aren't on the menu. Oh. You must be new here. She literally says all of this without letting me get a word in. I just ignored the fact that she said toro is just spicy tuna, it's fatty tuna, so it costs much more and tastes much different, and looked her dead in the eyes and said, well actually, I've worked here for the past 2 years, but thanks. As I was finishing my sentence, my other table was leaving and said, thank you for the excellent service. Everything was wonderful. The lady was absolutely dumbfounded. She shrugged it off and said, well I guess I haven't seen you here before, and then she was quiet and a little bit nicer for the rest of her meal. Honestly, it felt so good being able to look her straight in the face and tell her how it is. Plus, the fact that my other table had the balls to speak up and shut the lady up made me feel even better. I hope everyone has been doing well and staying safe since everything has started to reopen. And I hope none of you guys have to deal with customers like this. Smile. Me. Thank you for calling blah blah blah. Customer, I haven't gotten my order. Me, I'll be happy to look into that for you. Sees there was a major issue with their order and that we had tried to reach them to discuss it several times over the course of a month and they never returned our calls or replied to the emails we sent. Because of this the order was cancelled. Customer, why the beeping bleep bleep and was my order cancelled? I never got any notification. Me, gives dates and times of emails sent and voicemail messages left. Customer, silent for a few moments. I thought they were scams. I want to tell you something similar that happened to me. First of all, I'm a minor, but the shape of my body and my height makes me look like a 20 or 21 girl. This happened when I was accompanying my father at a state fair. He works as a manager in a snack company and was going to present a new product at the fair. They gave free samples of these snacks, which were potato chips and fried plantains in the shape of little sticks. I helped him distribute the samples, and everything went well. When we finished giving all the samples, a woman, clearly a Karen, but she looked more conceited than usual, comes up to me and says, Karen, excuse me miss, did you finish giving the samples? Me, yes ma'am, we're done. Karen, and how much do they serve back there? They were serving more to deliver at night. Me, that's for later ma'am. Karen, can you give me some of that? My children couldn't grab when they handed out. Behind her, two little kids, clearly not interested. Me, sorry madam, that does not depend on me. Karen, what do you mean no? It's your job. Give me that, I need to go and my children want to eat of it. Me, madam, I don't control when samples will be given, I don't work here. And then, he says the phrase that we all already know. Karen, I want you to call your superior. At this point she was screaming angrily, and even though I wanted to talk to her the same way, I calmed down and went to my dad to talk to her. Dad, how can I help you? Karen, this girl is a very bad employee. I demand that they remove his position. He has treated me very badly. My dad looks at me, I just give him a confused look. My dad sighs and says, Dad, I think you're wrong, she doesn't work here. Karen, I saw her working. Don't lie to me. And every time she spoke, my dad would reply the same, she doesn't work here. Karen, I demand to speak to the manager. Dad, I am the manager, madam, and I will tell you one last time, my 15-year-old daughter doesn't work here. Karen didn't think I was that age, and we continued to fight for quite a while. Until my father got tired. Dad, ma'am, please go away. Karen, what? Dad, I said go away, wasn't I in a hurry to leave? So go away. The woman lasted 3 seconds trying to find a word to answer, and then she walked away very angry. We didn't see her when we distributed the samples at night, I think she did. First time posting, currently a EMS dispatcher for a private ambulance company for 3 years now. We take some calls, however, they're usually seizures, psych, and falls. This one? Probably should have been psych, but unfortunately she wasn't the patient. This call happened in my first year, while I was pretty fresh and didn't understand the power of controlling a call. And #X200B. Me, okay, tell me exactly what happened. CLR, yeah, my mom fell in the other room, you know we have her locked in there right now, but yeah she fell and I think she may have hit her head. Me, okay, are you with her now? CLR, well, you see, she has dementia, and we live in a new home, so she is locked in there. You see, we can't have her wandering because of the bears that are around here. Me, have you gone to check on her yet? CLR, no, I can't unlock her door because she will get out and the bears will get her. Me, can you please go check on the patient? CLR, yeah, I think she might have hit her head, it sounded like she hit the end table, that's what woke me up, but even our big dog, insert large dog brand, is afraid to go outside because there are bears here at this new house. Please send the ambulance but make sure they get in and out quick because the bears will get them. Rinse and repeat for literally every one of the 10 questions involved with a fall. I was essentially working with a third-party caller as she flat out refused to unlock her mother from the room until the EMTs got there, let alone even go look at her. And #X200B. I kid you not, I heard way more about these bears than I ever got out of her regarding her fallen mother. While I may have wanted to bash my head into the desk repeatedly asking her the questions, now I can have a good belly laugh over it. From what I do remember though, Mom was transported alright, and no EMTs were mauled by the darn bears. So we all know those regulars who are super entitled because they are regulars and act like everyone thinks the sun shines out of their ass since they spend money there, right? Well, one dude and his wife had been drinking for hours and I never had a problem with them until tonight. I was getting wrecked by myself bartending and serving since we assumed it would be dead again. 1,300 sold myself in 5 hours. He starts asking if I know how to make certain shots and listing ingredients while I'm literally sweating busy and I'm like okay. So do you want one of those or? And he's like I'm thinking of buying everyone here a shot. I'm like great. You all know I don't have a split second to pour 30 layered shots right now, and deliver them and keep ranting with him about it. He kept asking for one of my managers because he thought he would get a deal on it, so I pointed her out to him because she was behind him and ran away. Next thing I know she's stuck talking to him for a literal hour during a nightmare rush because he's so annoying and she's having to pour 28 shots into kids' cups since I didn't have enough shot glasses anyway. Then had to deliver these warm fireball shots in kids' cups nobody wanted to every table in my bar. The dude mocked me the rest of the night. I was around him saying sucks for you, I gave her 20 cents, she did all this but you just couldn't handle it, could you? Not knowing she obviously gave it to me. I just said yeah dude, couldn't do it then, can't do it now. He was standing on his chair's foot bar while at the bar some of the time. Everyone was cringing at his entitled loud behavior. Like wow, you're the coolest king of the sports bar restaurant sir. Everyone was like wow what a cool dude. D/S. But it was great making fun of him with the other bar top people who said their free shots were barely consolation for being next to him all night. Until tomorrow. We only did about 100 people but I believe that was expected. My boss had us heavily staffed but that was just in case. Our systems only allow us to sell up to 35% capacity as well. Every single second after dealing with a customer, we were cleaning up and wiping down everything again, and once they'd leave the theater, we'd wipe down their seat. It felt so good to be back in that theater to the point that I was very loud and just too excited to be there. After what, 4 months of being closed, it feels good to be back. Okay, so this happened yesterday. Me, 19M, and my girlfriend, 20F, just finished college and we celebrated by taking a 7-day vacation. Now, my girlfriend is an enthusiast for Minecraft and she absolutely loves building houses and stuff like that, so I joined in and we happily started an adventure together. And there we are, the two of us, killing monsters, scavenging materials together, like a true couple. After a while we collected everything we needed to build a house. She was super excited, our first home, she said. Oh boy did I destroy the shit out of our first home. I'm a total noob on Minecraft, so I started playing around with some cheats just to have some fun, while she was building our palace. I encounter a command called summon, with a nice ender dragon in front of it. A dragon? That must be cool, and there it was, a giant dragon destroying my girlfriend's hour-long dream house. She got mad, but nothing like a good movie to sort things out after, right? DL, Doctor, destroyed my girlfriend's work in Minecraft by summoning a ender dragon without knowing what it is. Edit, grammar. I was around 18-19 still living at home with my mom and my little sister, and we would take weekly trips to Walmart when mom and I got paid. I told my mom and sister I was going somewhere and that just meant I was just gonna walk around. While I was walking to the back of the store I realized that a man was walking behind me. He was about 10 feet away and I thought nothing of it, it seemed pretty normal. But something was off and I couldn't shake the feeling, but I also kept telling myself that I was crazy. I kept walking, looking back every few seconds to see if the guy was still there. And there he was. I also noticed that weirdly enough there was nobody around this area of the store, and that freaked me out even more. I picked up the pace to the point where I was almost running and the guy was chasing me at this point. I was in the verge of tears wondering why there was nobody around until I got to the electronics section and I finally saw some people. I didn't say anything to anybody though, because I guess since we got to a point where people were around he left. I was freaked out but relieved. I found my mom around the frozen food section and told her that a strange old white guy was following me. That freaked her out and told me not to go anywhere. My little sister, the angel that she is, was trying to comfort me and I felt somebody watching me. Across from where we were I saw a head poking out of the women's clothes section and I whispered to my sister that that was the guy who was chasing me. She turned and saw him and that's when he started walking away. And again, I thought that he would be gone since my little sister saw him. We continued shopping and while we were in line for cash register I noticed him again. And I told mom that was the guy. She told me not to look back at him and just ignore him. He couldn't do anything since there were tons of people around. We quickly got checked out and left as soon as we could. I kept looking back to see if he was chasing us as we left to the car, but he wasn't around. We quickly put our bags in the car and dipped. Mom was scared and angry and told me not to separate from her again. And to the creepy stalking old dude at Walmart, let's not meet. Ever. I had a weird experience with a Pac and her son the other day. Basically, her son had been taking candy, taking one bite and put it back into the container, which in of itself is a no-no, but in these days with the virus, it's even a bigger no-no. Not to mention we have to throw away anywhere between 120 kilos of candy whenever this happens, depending on what he took one bit of and put back. He's done this several times without reprimand from his mother, who doesn't seem to care about what he does whenever they're at our store. He has been running around, breaking things and harassing customers, even tried to steal an old man's wallet once, and he also manages to climb onto the freezers where we keep pizza and other frozen goods. We tried to let his mother know that this is not okay, but she doesn't care. The other day, I wasn't the one who caught him at it, but a regular customer did. She grabs him by the arm and pulls him towards me and tells me what happened. Now, I told the woman off for grabbing him like that, but I agreed that what he did was wrong. His mother comes over and flips out because he's crying. I try to tell her what her son did, and if he keeps doing it, I will have little choice but to recommend to my manager to have them both banned. She erupts. She starts yelling about racism and how I'm targeting her because she POC, which isn't true at all. She grabs her son and storms out. She's also launched a complaint, stating that I called her some offensive words, which I never did. Luckily, my manager is backing me up, and so are the countless witnesses that saw this go down. I don't know how anyone else is handling it, but over here, we are being swarmed by people who are getting their stimulus on those prepaid debit cards, and they claim the government told them they can cash it at our bank. Other banks may have the ability to take money out of those cards, but not ours. Then our customers get annoyed and act confused when we tell them we literally don't have a way of taking money out from those cards and that they need to call the number on the back of the card to get the money transferred to their account. My niece has recently been more disrespectful than usual to her mother, and her mom, my sister, mostly laughs it off and doesn't take it seriously, but it really gets under my skin when she rolls her eyes when she is asked her to pick up after herself. Today I asked her to clean up several messes that she'd made around the house, and she mocked me and rolled her eyes while her mother laughed. So I went to the kitchen and poured the rest of her favorite cereal into a bowl and watched her face fall as I walked past her cleaning, eating her precious Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which I don't even really like. Bartender at a local pizza joint. My buddy came in after a long day dealing with his two sick little girls. He tells me a story from today about the littlest. She's screaming for him from the bathroom. She states she's been waiting for 60 years for him. All she wanted was a cheese pizza from our place. Since they were sick, he went with something more appropriate for upset stomachs. But you can guarantee I got him a gift certificate for a cheese pizza for her when she's better. Nice to have good customers to even out the bad ones, lol. I worked in housekeeping in a hotel for months up until this past week. I'm now 35 weeks pregnant. I was scheduled to work 5+ days a week, with 20+ rooms to myself. I came into work recently, because I was on the schedule, and I could barely walk. I couldn't bend my back and my ankles were hugely swollen. I had been in L&D the night before to stop contractions. We didn't have many rooms, but 5 housekeepers in-house. Everyone was almost begging my manager to send me home, as we had too many housekeepers for the amount of rooms. Now, I'm huge at this point in pregnancy. I can't bend too far forward in general. My manager and I, discussed a couple weeks ago that she didn't want me cleaning bathtubs, so I was to have another housekeeper come clean my bathtubs. No biggie, I was fine with that. Well, the day before I quit I had went to find another HK to help with a bathtub. Said manager stopped us in the hall and asked what we were doing socializing on the clock. We explained that she was going to clean a bathtub for me and would go right back to her rooms. She yelled at me and said that if I can't do my job, I need to quit so that she can hire someone who's willing to work. I explained that it wasn't that I wasn't willing to work, rather that's one small task that I myself struggle with accomplishing. She didn't care. She continued yelling at me. Now, I've always hated being yelled at, so I spent the rest of my shift crying while cleaning my rooms. I got home from work, still crying. My boyfriend became extremely upset as I told him what had happened. We decided that it's in the best interest of our child that I just be done, as it's a lot of emotional trouble as well as physical. So I gave my manager her wish, and I went in and handed in my scrubs and quit. She seemed sympathetic, said she understood, was sad to see me go, and for me to come talk to her after I was released from maternity leave. Fast forward to today, another HK at said hotel was talking to this manager, while recording the conversation to send to me. She asked if I would be back after baby. The manager told her that I was Lizzie and a crybaby, so she would never consider hiring me back. I'm glad I quit. I feel like I dodged a bullet. I'm not sure that I'll ever be able to convince myself to work in housekeeping again. Well, it's not just today, it's the past 3 days. My friend handed in a resume where I work. I told my boss he's a good worker and he's reliable. For some context, my manager is the devil. I warned him about that. Anyway, my friend doesn't take any shoot from anyone, and of course the devil ended up telling it him for something. Wasn't his fault BTW, but instead of just taking it and saying sorry my bad like most people do because they want to keep their jobs. No, he ended up getting in an argument with her on his second day. I told him last night to not argue with her because she'll just fire you, and he said I know but I'm gonna talk to her tomorrow because I don't appreciate getting screamed at for nothing. I'm really scared I'm gonna get fired because of this. TL, Doctor, I got my friend a job and he's having a feud with the manager. I might get fired. It wasn't exactly today but I f/shed up really hard. I saw a funny meme, thank God it was clean, that I wanted to send to my friend. I used my school email to send it to him. His name started with an E so I just typed an E and sent to. My school is a small high school so there was an email address that you can use to send an email to everyone in the school at once. I typed E then pressed enter when there were multiple accounts to pick from that came up. The one I pressed enter on was the @everyone email. I clicked send, then I just went on doing something else. The thing is, you can't unsend emails after 30 seconds or something. Later an administrator asked me about it and I was like WTF. Good thing the administrator was cool when I told him it was an accident. I should have been more careful but it happened already so I can't do much about it. Me and my friend laughed about it afterwards. And #X200B. TL Doctor, I accidentally sent a meme to my entire school instead of a friend. I am 14. I am a certified referee in my state. I know the rules as I've played by them my whole life along with taking the officiating classes. At our park district, no headers for ages below 11. But in U12, it is up to the referee's discretion. So if it's a small tap it's okay. That is exactly what happens. So the coach behind me screams at the top of his lungs there are no headers in U12 5 to 16 times. I ignore him. Though I could eject him. It was last game of the season and I didn't care. After a bit of yelling, he says fine, go duck yourself then which I turn and tell at him for saying in front of U11 kids. I wish I sent him away or ended the match. Sadly I didn't do much and my partner is a longtime referee, officiated my matches as I grew up, and he is deaf. So he has no idea what happened. The person who runs Park District in my area has been informed and is taking action. Hello. For those of you who have been working in the design industry for a while now, did you have trouble deciding what type of designer to be? With so many different design career paths to choose from, how did you make your decision? I just graduated with a bachelor's in design and am having trouble determining what design career path I should focus on. My degree was broad, with classes in design thinking, visual communication/graphic design, industrial/product design, and interaction/web design. I also took several classes in fashion design and studio art, printmaking, painting, sculpture. I had fun taking classes in so many different disciplines, but now that I've graduated and am looking for a job, I feel like I should have just chosen one thing and stuck with it. I've been working as a freelance graphic designer throughout college and also did multiple internships spread out among different types of art and design. I love all things design and feel like my dream job changes every month if not every week. My portfolio is lacking because I can't focus on one type of design and mastering its necessary skills. I live in a city with lots of tech companies so most available positions are UI/U.X. Making apps and websites doesn't really appeal to me compared to other more hands-on design jobs, but it almost seems like the only option right now. I would like to move in the future but don't see it happening this year due to COVID-19. Should I focus my time on creating a solid UI portfolio right now and get a job doing that for the time being, even if it's not what I'm most passionate about? I feel like I could always develop other design skills while having a UI job if I want to switch careers and move in the future, when things are more stable. Thank you for your thoughts and stories about your own career path. I appreciate hearing from anyone who had a similar struggle choosing their career. When I went to school we had a very strict system. Punishments were, lunchtime DT, LDT, self-explanatory referral, R, written warning Friday DT, FDT, 1 hour on a Friday Saturday DT, SDT, 4 hours on a Saturday. I wasn't the most well-behaved or brightest student so I got these a lot. If you get 3 FDTs it is an SDT and 3 of those is a suspension. Important later, our school isn't a high-tech school at all but if we are lucky we can sometimes use computers. These computers are not very modern and are very slow. One day in history our teacher, Mr. G, let us use them. Mr. G has a system where randomly he would shout hands up and you had to immediately stop what you were doing and throw your hands in the air. He would look at every computer and if there was anything that wasn't work, you get an immediate FDT. I was messing around in class with Control-P, Control-X etc. When I pressed Control-H, search history, I saw it didn't think much of it at the time and just continued messing around. About 10 minutes later Mr. G shouts hands up and the one kid with a worse reputation than me, L, immediately closed a tab and shot his hands up. Mr. G saw and rushed over to L's computer and saw just work. Mr. G then said, "I wish there was a way to prove you were messing about." I stupidly whispered whilst laughing Control H to my partner, forgetting Mr. G's incredible hearing. He said, "Control H? Press the button," and boom, everything that L looked up. Everyone shot me the dirtiest looks and I was embarrassed, and that was it. Until Mr. G told everyone to press Control H so he could see everyone's history. Including mine. Which was filled with games. I and 5 others got FTDs, which I wasn't too upset with. They were mad, but this was my 3rd FTD. Which meant an SDT. Which was my 3rd SDT. I got suspended for 5 days because I whispered the words Control H to my partner. TL, doctor accidentally told the teacher how to access my search history, suspended for playing games. Everyone, it is always smart to keep a password on your phone. I was FaceTiming my brother around 11 p.m.-ish at night playing games on my computer while I had my phone on FaceTime with him. My computer is located next to a window that had been open that night, but I had thought it was closed. As I was talking to him, I heard 2 faint knocks that sounded like it came from the door. I thought it was nothing and continued playing. 1 minute later I heard 2 faint knocks again. This time I knew someone was there. So I got up and left my phone where it was and opened the door. No one was there. I walked to the basement door to ask my boyfriend's parents if they were upstairs knocking, but they had been downstairs all along. I told them I think someone's in the house. We all came back up and walked back to my bedroom, and guess what? My phone was gone. I was still on FaceTime with my brother when I left. Now the knock sounded like it was coming from the door, but it could have been someone outside my window. But I would have heard it coming from the window, but it didn't sound like that, so that part I do not know. There could have been 2 people in total because it sounded like someone was trying to lure me out the room. Turns out when I left to get my boyfriend's parents, this is what my brother saw. He seen a girl's hand by the window reach in and grabbed my phone. I knew I was watched for at least an hour. She turned off the screen, but luckily for that dumb girl, I had a password. The Windows screen had been folded up, meaning someone from the outside was watching me for a while trying to lure me out. And I am pretty sure I know who it is. His crazy ex. She has used at least 100 fake numbers trying to contact him for over 10 months. We just changed his phone number, so I can only assume she was trying to get my phone to see his new number in my contacts. I found my phone outside in the front yard because she didn't know my password, and I am safe so everyone knows, but it is always smart to keep a password so no creeps will get into it. Maybe try facing me next time, lol. Not me, but witnessed my bar manager go through this. Customer, excuse me, I've been waiting ages and you served everyone except me. Bar manager, I'm sorry love, what do you want? C, I'm not your love. Stares. BM, I'm sorry, can I get you anything? C, I think it's awful how you ignore customers who have been waiting for so long. BM, I didn't realize you had been waiting so long, what can I get you? C, well, I think this is awful, 5 people must have come after me and been served. BM, I apologize again, I'll get you your drinks now, what would you like? C, for free? BM, sorry, I can't do them for free. C, why not? I've had to wait for so long, it's the least you can do. BM, I don't think it works like that, do you want any drinks or not? C, of course I do, why do you think I was waiting at the bar? But I don't think I should have to pay. BM, you can either buy a drink or stand away from the bar, I'm afraid, that's all we can offer. C, fine. But I don't want you to serve me. BM, why not? C, because you're incompetent, you don't know what you're doing. BM, well, everyone else here didn't serve you fast enough either, what difference does it make who pours your drinks? C, well, I've just said, anyone but you. Now get somebody else. BM, well, the other staff are busy mixing drinks, so you'll have to wait if you want them. C, are you kidding? Flip you. BM, flip me? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Commence ranting and shouting, followed by the bouncer escorting her out. I would like to hear if any of you got a copy of the vinyl album, Who's Better Who's Best, from the famous band, The Who. I got my new turntable recently and my grandfather gave me his old collection of vinyl, amongst which was the album I mentioned. The first song that plays is called My Generation, and in the first 3 minutes there is nothing suspicious about it, it's actually a pretty enjoyable song. Although during the last 20 seconds or so a strange Morse-like code appears out of nowhere, completely unrelated to the song's genre. I found it very obscure that some seemingly random code played from a 40-year-old vinyl, so I went online searching for information about this. I found none. Every other version of the song existing online has nothing to do with the one inside my record. Not a trace of Morse code. I was wondering if anyone out there has the same album and if their copies play this strange sequence after the end of the first song. Me and my friends haven't seen each other for the past few months because of the pandemic. We're all quarantined at home. We've all been friends for a long time so we can joke around like it's no big deal. Except today. We were all in a video chat having our weekly video game night. With the pandemic going on and the COVID cases going up, it's understandable how we all still want to stay home. Jokes were going around and I jokingly asked one of my friends why he wasn't out protesting. He suddenly got quiet and just started crying. I've never seen him like this. We all kept asking what's wrong and he admitted that his parents tested positive for COVID so he's quarantined with them. He has been scared and his anxiety has gotten worse. He said that he had to lay off social media because it was affecting his mental health. He hasn't been sleeping. He even felt worse that he wasn't out protesting. I apologized and kept reminding him that he can help out at home too by signing petitions and donating like me, my wife, and pretty much everyone else. He said he felt really tired and he logged off right after. I texted him and apologized again. He said it was cool and not to worry. I still feel like a jerk. DL, doctor, was joking around with friends. Jokingly asked a friend why he wasn't protesting. Turns out his parents have COVID and he broke down. So I work at a local grocery store in my town as a service clerk, which means I just do whatever needs doing. Tonight I worked the late shift from 3 o'clock to 10 o'clock and after 8 o'clock almost nobody comes in. So me and my friend who was also working late had the idea to race the electric carts the old people always use to pass the time, so we went around the parking lot and then into the building and so far everything was going fine, well until we got past the cash registers. The store has pallets of alcohol past the registers with small gaps in between. My friend was beating me so I made the genius decision to cut through one of the small gaps between the pallets while he went around them. So I turn in and when I'm about to turn I clip one of the pallets, the next thing I know, about 10 bottles fall off and bust on the floor. And the pallets being so close to the registers caused the two cashiers and one of the managers standing next to the two notice. Now luckily the manager was pretty cool and laughed it off, along with everyone else, but said I would have to clean and they would dock it for my pay which ended up costing just over $100. DL, doctor, I broke several bottles of vodka with the electric shopping cart. Just curious. I saw a comment about someone who had a table seat who instantly gave him cash and said what they would need/expect. I recalled my days in a country club. If you were new or hadn't served certain members before, then they would often tell you what they expect. One lady came in one day to run it down for us. She brought us business cards with her favorite cocktails recipes on them, as well as the names she calls them and which meals she wants which drink at. She said she would like constant service, not a single dirty dish on the table even if it means asking a guest to move so you can reach it, certain seating arrangements, etc., etc. At first, we all found it annoying, but it actually made it a lot easier to serve her, knowing exactly what she wants. It made me realize I appreciate annoying guests who at least are conscious that they are annoying, and not in that "oh, I'm so annoying, but I tip well." Tips 1.20 \way, but the clear and concise directions, sometimes accompanied by a pre-tip, I know, but in fine dining, it's actually pretty common. DLDR, thousands of shop-level employees got laid off based on a computer algorithm the corporate office designed that doesn't factor in seniority and gives preference to certain employees. Store managers and corporate office employees were not affected at all by these layoffs. Please feel free to ask me any questions, I have lots of free time now. And #X200B. I work at it at Take 5 Oil Change, same thing as Jiffy Lube, for 5 years and was terminated yesterday along with 1,000 other lube techs. All the stores only have 1 to 3 people working there now. Nobody at the corporate level got let go, all the store managers are still working, and the rest was left up to a computer algorithm. I took pictures of our company's organizational charts in ADP before they locked me out, showing that corporate employees were not affected at all. The regional manager, who is in charge of over 60 stores, actually said that corporate's computers picked which assistant managers and lube techs would stay and which ones would be terminated with preference given to some assistant managers. I have no say in the matter. Apparently experience wasn't a factor in this algorithm. Lube techs who had worked there for more than 20 years got laid off while some techs who just started last year are still being employed. In the letter they sent out to everyone, they stated that all employees terminated will be considered for rehire subject to work history. They aren't even guaranteeing their jobs back, they're basically telling us we need to fill out an application again and hope for a callback. Does this seem pretty messed up, or is it just me? How can a company lay off people so easily without care? It sounds like they are using the current events as an opportunity to clean house and start fresh with new people once things settle down. I can't imagine a company anywhere that lets a computer tell them who can stay and who can leave during a layoff. I think what bothers me the most is that I know very well the expendable shop-level employees are only getting laid off so the company can afford to pay the management and corporate employees. They still have 10 employees on payroll making $70-80K a year for unit growth and development. This company is not doing any growing or expanding right now, couldn't they let some of those people go? Thank you for taking the time to read. I just really wanted to vent my frustrations. If what they are doing isn't illegal, then it is certainly the shadiest thing I have ever come across.